Hi guys, welcome back to the channel where we talk all things digital fulfillment. Today we're going to be looking at a follow-up video on the last video where we talked about the customer journey on the digital marketing side of things. What we're actually going to look at today is the step-by-step process by which a user comes from seeing your ad and actually converting, understanding what are the metrics that matter in each stage of that process, and what you can try and do to optimize each of those segments. So we won't go too much into details regarding the optimization. Today, we just want to understand what that process looks like. So the first thing you need to imagine is picture yourself scrolling online. You're either on your phone or you're on your laptop, and you're just going about your day, and you come across an ad that hits you, right? And this is happening on a constant basis. The digital marketing space is filled with so many ads. So you're going to be ignoring almost 99% of the ads. Not only are you ignoring it, your brain is not even keeping note of it. But then there are going to be a few ads that are going to resonate with you, either because of the start, either because of the creative approach. For whatever reason, one of those ads is going to stick out to you. And if you think about it, even yesterday, there's probably an ad you came across that you kind of remember, or you have a distinct memory of, but that's the 1% of all the creatives or all the ads that you came across yesterday. Now, when that happens, and if you can imagine, so let's go through a typical user journey. So someone is scrolling online and they see our ads. They are going to ignore 99%, 95 to 99% of all the ads, right, that they come across on a day-by-day basis. But for the few who are going to see and actually interact with it, and again, it's not even converting, just interacting with that creative, what you're going to see is that they are going to either like the creative, either they're going to click on the creatives for them to expand on it to see the image better. Maybe they're going to take a little bit more time to watch the video. Maybe they're going to click on read more so that they can see the rest of the copy. Again, I'm using the typical Facebook experience to explain the journey. But they're going to engage to some extent with that creative, right? Because it has captured their attention. But then once they've done that, again, the vast majority of them are going to drop off. So yes, well and good, but they haven't really taken the next action that you're trying to make them take. And so they drop off and continue on with their lives. But then there's going to be those select few people who, once they've read the content of the ad, they're actually going to click and engage with it a little bit more. And maybe they're going to click on the call to action button because they want to see, okay, where is this journey going to take me? So they click on the call to action button, and let's say, for example, you're taking them to a unique landing page, or you want to take them maybe to a lead form, whatever the destination is going to be. They've interacted with it by clicking on that call to action button. And then again, the vast majority of users want. So those ones who are actually going to click on the button, there is always going to be a drop-off point. There's always going to be a drop-off even between the people who clicked on the call to action button and the people who land on the landing page itself. Again, we'll take a small look at this just to try and understand what might be going on there. But then for those who land on the page, there are those now who are going to convert and give you their either if it's a lead generation, they're going to give you the lead information. If it's a e-commerce, they're going to make a purchase. But then the vast majority of users are also going to still drop off, right? Because it's very rare for you to have an extremely high conversion rate unless the number of users who are coming in on that page are quite small. But this is the typical user journey. So what we tend to measure is whenever we are looking at the digital marketing process, we have to look at from the start, what this looks like from this segment where the person saw the creative to this segment where they actually converted. And what you're trying to do is walk them through each of these stages and encourage them to take the next step, the next step, the next step. Now, what this tends to look like when you go to any platform. In this case, I'm going to be using the Facebook platform, but majority of the digital marketing platforms all have these unique stages. So we have impressions where, as we spoke of last time, we're building awareness and we're trying to generate some level of salience in the brain of our consumer to understand that this brand actually exists. So again, in this case, we're just showcasing the brand. Then there are going to be some level of engagement. In this case, on the Facebook platform, we're looking at clicks all. They're going to click on the link where this is a call to action button. They're going to land on the page and then they're going to convert, right? So that's the typical experience. So let's break this down a little bit more and try to see what are the metrics that matter in each of these stages. right? So we say that the first thing that users are going to be, the metrics that we need to have top of mind, number one is impression. So what is an impression? This is the basic measure of how many times your ad has been displayed, right? Again, it does not look at how many people have seen the ad, it just looks at how many times that ad has been displayed. Very important and very significant difference, which we shall cover in another video. And what this does is it tells you if your ad is getting seen by your target audience, right? So how many times did your target audience actually see your ad? So what are the things that drive impressions? One, your budget. If the more budget you have, the higher the number of impressions you're going to be able to deliver. The targeting settings. So what kind of audience are you targeting? Is it a broad audience? Have you narrowed it very significantly? Of course, the wider the size of your audience, the better, because it means you're going to be able to drive much more impressions. Campaign objective. If you're running an awareness campaign versus a conversion campaign, the awareness campaign is always going to be driving way more impressions at a way cheaper cost. And again, we'll cover why that is in a different video. So those are what drives the cost per mile. And in this case, the metric that matters to this is the cost per mile, which is what is typically called the CPM. So the cost per mile typically measures how much you are getting charged for every 1,000 impressions that your ad receives. So again, for every 1,000 impressions, there's a cost that Facebook is going to charge you. Now, this is a very important metric. And what people tend to forget is whatever version of a campaign you're running, Facebook is charging you for the delivery of that ad, not for the results that you get. So even if you run that ad and you only achieve like 2 results, you're still, the charge that Facebook is going to charge you for is for the opportunity for you to display your content, not for you getting those results. So this is a very, very small but very, very significant difference that you need to keep top of mind. Now, once users have seen your ad, like we mentioned, there are those who are going to engage with it. And the metric that you're looking at here is the clicks into bracket all. Very significant difference. And what this measures is the total number of clicks on your ad, including link clicks, including likes, including video views, including people clicking to read more on the copy. Again, all of those interactions are being counted under the clicks all, because what this is looking at is what kind of engagement does your creative have, right? And what drives these numbers is how eye-catching the visuals and the content is. Of course, the more interesting and the more breaking like it breaks into someone's thought. That's why you'll typically see people use some very interesting concept to try and hook you in, and then put in their information right after the hook, because they understand that the higher they can get the eye-catching visuals and the content, they are going to get much more engagement, right? And the other thing that matters is also how relevant it is to the target audience, because it doesn't matter if, let's say, you have the most interesting fashion design creative, for example, and you're targeting it to construction workers, the vast majority of them will not resonate with it. So it's very important for you to also know who you are actually targeting. And the metrics that you want to keep an eye on in this case is the CTR all. This is the click-through rate all, into brackets all, because this measures the percentage of people who saw your ad versus those who actually interacted with it. Again, remember, this is all interactions. Now, following this, the next item we want to look at is the link clicks. And remember, link clicks are part of clicks all. Okay, so that's a very important significance. But what we typically measure with the link clicks is how many people clicked on the ad's call to action, right, in order to reach a select destination. So now they're actually taking the next step and being moved from where they are currently on the Facebook platform, for example, and being moved either to an external website, if you have a separate landing page, or still within the Facebook platform, either to an instant form, an instant experience, or to a lead form, right? But they're being moved from the stage that they were at to the next stage. And what you want to keep an eye on here is the eye-catching visuals. Again, very important for you to grab attention. The ad copy itself, the offer that you're making, because remember, this person's interest has been captured and they've interacted with the ad, so they've read a bit more about what that ad is about. But then they need to know. So the offer needs to be very enticing to them, and the call to action also needs to be very clear. So what do you want them to do next? So those are very important in terms of driving the link clicks. And the metrics that matter in this segment are going to be the CTR link clicks. So this is a percentage of people who saw your ad and clicked specifically on the link you provided. So they clicked on the call to action button. The second one is going to be the cost per click, which is the average amount you're paying for each person who is clicking on your ad link. So these two metrics are very important, because the higher your CTR and the lower your CPC, the more people you're driving to the next segment, and the more chances you're giving yourself to actually succeed. So if your CTR is quite low, and again, in a later video, we'll look at what quite low means, and your CPC is again very high, that is also, there is also a disconnect on that end as well. So you need to have that top of mind. So once users have clicked on the call to action button, again, we're taking them to a specific experience. The landing page could be either external or internal to the platform. So if it's a landing page that is outside the Facebook platform, there's that. If it's a lead form, that also counts as a landing page, because that's where the users are landing. And what this is we're looking at the number of page loads that actually happens on the landing page. So this is the number of times your landing page loads and is visible to the users who've clicked on the ad. Okay, typical, self-explanatory. But something interesting about the landing page is you need to make sure that the number of users, and this is a metric that isn't normally measured as much, so I'll jump right into both of these points, but you want to be checking how many users are clicking on the ad, on the call to action button, right, the link click, and how many of them are actually landing on your landing page. If you see there's a significant drop off between those two, then there's a problem, right? Because if you think about what actually drives the landing page views, there is a technical side and the non-technical side. On the technical side of things, there's the landing page itself. Does it have a lot of items on it? Like, is it trying to load a video? So it's taking quite a long time for the page to load. And again, we know guys are not typically the most patient. If the page is taking forever to load, they're just going to bounce. Is there a poor UX? Like, is the user experience terrible? So someone is landing and they're already getting bombarded by pop-ups, and the experience is just terrible, which again is going to lead to users bouncing off the page. Is it mobile unfriendly? In this day and age, I hope none of you is using a website that is not user friendly in terms of mobile, because we know we are a mobile first industry. So those are some of the things on the technical side that may actually lead to a low landing page view rate. The other thing is also non-technical issues. So if the creative that you had on Facebook and the landing page content that is the content that's sitting on the landing page, if those two, there's a lot of misalignment, then there's also going to be a huge bounce rate. Because if you overpromise and then you underdeliver, or if you overhype on the creative side, on the ad side, so you captured my attention, but I landed on the page and it has nothing to do with what was promised, then I'm also going to leave, right? But the last point that is extremely important is poor tracking implementation. So you need to make sure that the tracking that you have on the landing page and tying it back to the Facebook platform is actually working. So that means your pixel, you've tested it and it's working consistently. And if you're using the conversion API, you've also tested it and it's working consistently. This is extremely important, because recently we've had some issues with Go High Level where it wasn't tracking the conversions that were occurring. So there was a drop off between the users who are coming in and what you're actually seeing on the dashboard. So the dashboard is recording that there are no transactions that have happened, but when you look at the Go High Level side, you can actually see that leads had actually come in and successfully been sent to our clients. So very important. And speaking of leads and closes, the last stage is once people land on the page, there's going to be the conversion action. Regardless of what the conversion action is, it could be someone purchasing an item, signing up to your newsletter, downloading a brochure. It doesn't matter. Leaving their contact information. It doesn't matter. That conversion action needs to be tracked. So what drives the conversion action? Again, the relevance of the landing page to the ad. So the experience needs to be very smooth. Whatever was being promised previously is being delivered. The offer attractiveness, again, this is where what you're communicating needs to be extremely enticing for users to actually want to take up your offer. And effective targeting. Again, targeting is such a critical element, because if you're sending a construction worker to a fashion website and they have nothing to do with each other, then the conversion rate is going to be absolutely terrible. And speaking of conversion rate, in this stage, that's exactly what you're measuring. We're measuring the number of people who clicked on the ad and completed the desired action versus those who completed we are measuring the people who completed the desired action versus those who landed on the landing page, right? Regardless of whatever that conversion action is, right? And something else to also keep in mind in the conversion, when you're thinking about the conversion rate, is you can think about it in two ways. There's a conversion rate of the users who've landed on the landing page vis-a-vis the users who converted, or you can also look at it as the conversion rate could be from the people who saw. So this is the conversion rate. People who converted versus the people who saw. That's one conversion rate, which is always going to be extremely small, especially because impressions are always going to be way high. But the other conversion rate that you want to look at whenever you want to look at where the problem could be is how many people converted versus how many people viewed the landing page. So if this rate is too low, you know that the problem is the landing page. And you need now to start thinking about how do you optimize your landing page. So all this and more to think about, but I hope this kind of gives you an idea of checking if you're seeing a lot of people are dropping off in terms of ignoring your content. So maybe use different creatives to capture attention. If you're seeing that people are actually interacting with their content, but they're not clicking on the call to action button, so you know there's a problem in terms of what you're communicating and what you're promising, either in terms of the offer or what the call to action item actually is. It's not convincing them. If they are clicking on the call to action button but they're not landing, then you want to look at, okay, is there something wrong with the page loading speed, with what the experience is on the page? But if they are clicking on the landing page but they're not converting, then you know that you need to look at the conversion, the landing page itself, and try to come up with different ways of communicating to encourage users to actually come across. In the next video, we're going to be looking at whether to use a landing page or to use a lead form, but this should give you a generally rough idea of what that user journey looks like. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, if you'd like to talk to me personally, hit me up. I'll see you guys in the next video.